Maureen, you're muted, okay. Got it, okay, hi. All right, so, I'm hitting record, Josh, unless you already did.
Yeah, it's all set.
It's all set, okay, all right. All right, so, we've got a quorum, we'll see if Lauren's gonna join, welcome, everybody. And were you trying to get onto the town website, Maureen? You're muted, never mind. All right. The minutes. Did everybody take, or did anybody take a look at the minutes? Maureen, you're muted.
I did. How's
All
that?
right, good, thank you. Would you or anyone like to make a motion to approve them or edit or comment or whatever?
Well, I'm okay with them. I'll make a motion to approve.
All right. Any comments, questions? No. All right. All those in favor of approving?
Do we need a second?
Oh, yeah,
Anybody? Anybody?
I'll second.
all right, okay. Nicole?
I was not
Oh,
present
you
at the
weren't
meeting,
here, you
so
have to
yeah,
abstain.
I
Oh,
will
gosh,
abstain.
all right, yeah,
Thank
all right,
you.
but I'm here, so I can, all right, so that's 3. Yeah, we've gotten into those situations. I mean, I have one set of minutes that we can never approve because Kevin got off the board before we had 3 people on who were still on, anyway. Okay, so the minutes are approved. All right, I don't think we have any members of the public here tonight. Oh, Pat, yeah, we do, there's Pat. Pat, I don't think of you as a member of the public anymore, you're a regular. Do you have any comments, Pat?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, so old business, park information for the town website. Oh, this is so frustrating. So, you know, Lauren worked on this a long time ago and she's not even here to be frustrated by this further. So, and then Josh agreed to actually try to find out for us where it should go, and he has worked on it. And the last meeting, you were sick, right, Josh? You had COVID. Oh no, we didn't meet in October because we did a site visit instead. And then in September, Josh had COVID, so he couldn't present this to us then. And now he can't present it to us because the town website is not working, because what he was going to show us is where he was suggesting we put information about the various parklands in towns, where it should link for the public can find it, and read about where they are, the locations, what amenities are available, et cetera, et cetera. So, and now you'll be gone for the next 2. So you're back when, Josh?
End of January. But like I said, I'll stick around for your guys' meeting and keep refreshing the website, and I'll jump right
Yeah.
in and you guys can take it out of order.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely we will, yeah, okay. Do you wanna get off and see if you can find somebody at City Hall and figure out what's going on?
So we have, everything's hosted through a company. So unfortunately, there's nobody at City Hall that could help
Oh,
that.
Okay, all right.
I did just, because I knew I was leaving soon, I did just push the changes through. So they're available as soon as the website's up.
Okay.
And then I just figured if I had any issues come up tonight or something happened, you guys could always just make some recommendations to me after you discussed it.
Okay, all right.
But the changes are there whenever you guys have a second to check. But like I said, I'll stick around and refresh the website and jump in if.
Yeah, okay, and see if it comes up, and all right, so that's plan B then. If it doesn't come up tonight, then we will we can all look at it on our own and then talk about it at our next meeting, and then give you comments when you are back in the
Yep.
end of January, so. all
Perfect.
right. I mean, it's been 20 years, I guess. What's an extra 6 months here or there?
Yeah.
That's posted, so. All right, so the next item is the town council approval of the tree board. I was not on the town council meeting when that happened. I think it was last month. Is that right, Nicole?
It was, yeah, it was maybe 2 weeks ago
Yeah,
now.
okay.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, maybe you're in a better position to refresh everyone's memory of how this started, that we've had a tree committee and what the role has been of that, and then what's going to transpire now with the directions to the tree board. And the bottom line is Nicole has graciously and thankfully agreed to be our representative to the tree board, so we will want to vote on making her an official representative of the Open Space Committee. And I will send a letter to the town manager's office to do that. But let's let Nicole talk about it a little bit. Michael, have you heard anything about this before? Did we talk about this at the last meeting at all? I don't remember if you were, or if this is a brand new thing for you.
It's pretty new. I know we did cover a little bit of it in the September meeting.
Okay.
You gave me a little bit of background of it and how the difference between the tree board and the open space and
Oh, okay,
how
all
that
right, that's right. And Nicole, you were on that meeting, at that meeting, because you had met Michael before, right?
No, we did
Oh,
not
you
meet. So
hadn't?
yeah,
No,
no,
I
I
met
think I was
Lauren.
unable to. Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right, so then I guess
Yeah.
I explained it a little bit, or maybe I was relying on Pat, who knew more about it than I did at that point, so, okay. So anyway, Nicole, you can give
Yeah,
us
just
a
really
short
quick, I'll
rundown.
just reestablish the kind of what's happened over the past year or more. It's probably close to a year or more now when Michael Dutton established kind of an ad hoc tree committee. That's what it was called at the time. And he pulled together, it was kind of a combination of staff from the town, from the highway department and the engineer, himself, and from planning, and then me. I guess I don't even remember how it all came to be. Did he originally reach out to our committee, and or did we kind of prompt it by reaching
know-
out to him? It's
you
like
know, I'm
blurry
trying to
now. I
think-
don't even remember.
I think the planning board was the one who initiated it, right? I mean, they really
Well,
wanted.
that's this kind of new era of it where we, because at the time the there was some changes that were being reviewed by a third party consultant for the some of the town bylaws. And there was some interest and discussion about kind of a tree, like a kind of like a tree bylaw
Yeah.
regarding trees. And we kind of started doing some work and some groundwork, and we had many discussions about, it was kind of just like a working committee. We did a lot of research. We looked at what other towns do, how theirs are set up. But one thing that was very clear is that most towns that had any kind of regulation around trees at all had an arborist, many of them did, or what they call like a tree warden, and had some sort of a tree board. So through some of the work that the planning board has been doing with working with various developers and trying to sort of work with them to ensure that they are mitigating their development impacts. There has been instances where they have been able to basically get mitigation funds from the developer to be spent on trees. However, that money cannot be, spent and used and organized until a tree board is officially put in place sort of established. So that's the process that's been going on right now. We, met as a group, and we basically established like our mission statement and sort of what the board would be responsible for doing and for overseeing. And so there's about like maybe 8 to 10 bullet points that would, I think I shared them at one point, and I could probably share them again if I can find them quickly, kind of what the roles and responsibilities are. For the most part, what the real driver is being able to help ensure that all of those funds go towards protection and planting of trees in the town, in our open space or other places where the town, other lands that the town owns. So most likely that may be downtown, streetscapes, parks, open space. So there very well could be opportunities, for us working very closely with the tree board to talk further about that. I mean, we had lots of discussions, even at some point talking about like establishing a nursery somewhere where we could actually grow trees that could then be transplanted. If we have a storm and we lose like a street tree, that there could be a place where we could, get that rather than going to an actual nursery. So there was many conversations that we had about the different things that we could do as a board. Getting back involved with Arbor Day was one. Really trying to like help look for grants, work with different committees for grants, funding for more trees or protection of trees or training for maintaining trees. What else? I mean, I think there's some very broad terms in there that that we would potentially be working with various boards to help clarify or ensure that there's, we're protecting trees. So I think the hope is that maybe someday we can, work to strengthen our planning board rules and regulations or subdivision rules and regulations so that they are more clear around the, cutting of trees and how, to kind of offset that. So that's something I personally feel pretty passionate about that we could definitely strengthen. And
had
something
done
I
quite
want
a
to
bit of
work about.
research on
I did a
that
ton of
originally, too.
research.
Yeah, and at that point, we were just talking within this committee. So I've kind of lost track too of where it went from there. I mean, I know Ray Jemian was pushing it from the planning board, but we were definitely talking about it here as a.
We were.
Yeah, the ordinance. That
We were, and we were
yeah,
like, look,
yeah.
and when I did all this research, I was seeing, all those towns like, in the 128 belt around Boston, for example, like the Newtons and the Westons and Wellesley. I mean, they have really strong regulations. I mean, that really go right down to regulating a tree in your yard that you want to take down. So I think that, that's not necessarily what we were talking about. I think I brought up concerns about clear cutting, about just, some of the development, especially in some of the upland areas in this town where you're not regulated by the Wetlands Protection Act because you're in an upland area, the development on Cherry Street, and some of those others where nearly 100 acres is just wiped out in order to make way for, development. And so, that is something that I felt pretty strongly that we could strengthen. Obviously not prohibiting development, but just developing in a smarter way, whether it pushes for cluster, whether it requires just more thoughtful planning in terms of tagging trees of a certain caliber and really establishing zones that you do not need to cut down. It's kind of nice to have buffers in between yards, in the rear of yards, along streets. And so really only clearing what you need, to clear was something that I felt most passionate about, because I think that, to me, that's the most vulnerable position we have in this town relative to our trees. The ones that are in the lowlands are very well protected with the Wetlands Protection Act, and for the most part, we have fairly big lots and fairly, it's a fairly rural community. So, I don't see that, there's reason to worry about what people do in their yards and whatnot. So I don't think that's, I don't think we're trying to be Newton. I think, that there was just ways in which I think we can help work harder to protect trees as part of our ongoing, development and redevelopment projects. So I, personally want to work really hard on trying to work on, putting some framework around ways in which we could provide, whether it's regulation or guidance for, not, clear cutting for some of these larger developments.
Who else is on the committee?
Yeah, let me open that. So Ray,
Ray Jimmy, who's on the planning
thank
board.
you. Yes, on the planning board, he has been sort of leading up this effort. Just give me one
I know they were
second.
going to designate someone from the planning board last night. And it was probably Ray,
Oh, good, good.
but I didn't view the meeting, so I'm not positive. I'm sure it was.
Okay, so the tree committee will consist of 7 members. There'll be 5 voting members, 2 non-voting members. The town manager basically can appoint the following voting members. So 1 member of the planning board, so hopefully that, or it sounds like it may be Ray. 1 member of the open space committee. 1 member of the Bridgewater Improvement Association. And that makes total sense because I do think the downtown is certainly where some of these trees can go. The town manager shall appoint 2 voting members at large, at least one of which shall be a certified arborist, landscape architect, or an individual with comparable experience and training,
Oh, that's good.
which is great. So that's
Yeah.
kind of that's going to be the tough one. How,
Yeah, really.
finding someone from our community that may meet those qualifications and be interested.
Yeah, right.
And then also the Bridgewater tree warden, the Bridgewater roadway superintendent, or a designee would serve as voting members.
And do we
So
have a
right-
tree warden now
Well, technically it's Bill Maltby right now.
who lives in Florida?
Yeah. So that's, yes, but he has still been involved in all of the kind of when we were developing our code and our group.
Yeah.
Azu also, who's the, city, the town engineer, and Paul DaCosta, who's the superintendent of roads, has been involved, and Shirley Krasinski has been very, very involved. So I imagine she is one of the appointed members. What would she be representing?
Yeah, probably. She
What's
was
her
at,
hat?
Should be
Yeah.
BIA.
Okay,
Oh,
the
BIA,
downtown,
yeah,
impro-
okay,
the
yeah,
downtown
yeah,
improvement,
that makes
yes.
sense.
probably.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, so
So,
that's basically what we'll be doing. And, it sounds like we certainly want to work with, with other committees. Obviously, we're probably one of the main, but there's other like, working with the Agricultural Commission, Energy Committee, maybe Conservation Commission, Parks and Rec, planning. So all of those different groups too, we may come to face. But I think like the first task at hand is kind of figuring out what to do with some of that first sum of mitigation funds that have been transferred from a developer to the town, which is great news. So there's already funds that now, once the board is officially established, we can go ahead and start planning
yeah,
and
great.
start working.
Nicole,
what-
wasn't there a resident on that list?
They're a member of the public. Yeah,
That's right.
what's odd is that the most recent correspondence I'm seeing didn't say that, but I might be looking at the wrong thing.
No, I thought there was, but I'm not sure.
Okay,
Is that in addition to the members at large, Pat, or is that?
Well, it says 2 at large, which would be the arborist and the warden. I don't, maybe,
Oh,
maybe.
I have the ordinance available if you'd like me to share it.
Uh,
oh, that'd be great, thank you.
yeah. And Michael, you had your hand up. You got a question?
Yeah, I had a really quick question. So Nicole, do you know if anybody or has the tree board, is there a plan for, oh, actually go back on the, in town, do we know if there are enough species to justify like an arboretum in any space within the town?
Oh, I see. Do you mean, would any of our, do any of our
Yeah,
current
do any
open
of our
spaces
spaces-
qualify as an arboretum?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and is that something
Good
that,
question.
is that
Yeah.
something that we could technically do and become a level 1 arboretum in a specific area of town? Because I was looking at the arboretum areas in the tree, in our area. We don't have anything
I
in
know.
this area at all. It's more closer towards Boston and then on the South Coast and in Rhode Island.
Yeah, well, step one is really establishing a tree inventory. It's really gonna have to focus on the town lands, mostly the streets.
Yeah,
I mean, the only place I could possibly think of that could potentially be even close could actually, believe it or not, be BSU. A lot of campuses do have
Oh.
enough species to qualify as an arboretum. I
That's-
don't know how aggressive they are with it, but I wouldn't be surprised if even some colleges like Stonehill or others, kind of might be on that path. That's where I have seen it, but that would be interesting. I'll bring that up.
yeah.
Michael, if you
Just
want to
something-
do some investigation into that, if it's an interest of yours.
Yeah, I did some work for the Newport Arboretum a long time ago. I'd like
Oh.
to potentially dig into that, so.
Yeah. Good. Good idea.
I mean, I just think we have the unique thing about Bridgewater is everything is just, we have so much natural beauty. We have so many native plants and species that it's, we just don't want to continue to lose them. And I think that this is such an important step in
Right.
ensuring that. I mean, here, this group is responsible for the open space. It's already preserved and beautiful, so I think that this tree board has an opportunity to stretch kind of beyond those areas and really help kind of partner, with the planning board, especially on that development side, and try to, at this point, it mainly consists of some of the mitigation funds. There is another point in here where we will, so that's kind of that item number 3 is working with the town officials and boards to manage the mitigation funds. Further down the list, maybe number 7 or 8 or something, I didn't recall, but it may be that we could potentially explore. Josh, do you think you could just scroll down just a small amount so we could see? Yeah, thank you.
Oh, promote arbor, yeah, okay. Bridgewater is a tree city. Oh, here was a tree nursery, yeah, so, maybe that.
Yeah.
Or arboretum.
Yeah, so for real, yeah. That was the Arbor Day. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was another thing, kind of really, help to develop some programs around educating, education around procurement and purchase and protection and maintenance of
Mhm.
trees. Again, I mentioned the grant opportunities before, and, working with town officials and boards in matters that relate to the care, management, and removal of, public trees. So there's a lot here. There is a lot of opportunities.
Are we still qualified as a tree city? I mean,
No.
it does require certain, principles. You're saying no, Nicole?
Correct. It sounded as though we need to reestablish that. There's there's 2 or 3 steps you need to take. And it
Right.
sounded like they're all within reach. So it was just a matter of, getting the people in line to actually, go
Well,
through and, do
Right,
that.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think.
But
I would,
I think there's a lot of opportunities for partnering with our committee here, because many times there's a celebration, right? So where else would you do an Arbor Day celebration than in, I suppose it could be at the Common, but other than that, it potentially could be in one of the town's open spaces.
right,
Mhm, mhm.
all right,
Can we get a copy of this?
yeah, Josh, could you just email this to all of us?
Thank you.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
This
great.
is probably what went to the town council in the vote.
And it was approved 2 meetings ago, right? Not this month, but last month, I think, is that right?
Right.
And I do see that there is a person from the public or public resident or something, as a member from the general public on that tree committee. So that's a good thing.
So is it in process to, that they're choosing people right now to be on this committee? Is that happening right now?
Yes.
I understood that the town manager is supposed to put out some kind of a request for applications or something like that. Is that right? I mean, does
I
anyone?
can actually speak to that.
Yeah.
So we We are in the process of advertising. I've gotten the advertisement written up. The only
Oh.
thing is we have to wait 30 days from when it was approved
Okay.
before it can be established. So while we can get the advertisement and everything out, we can't start interviewing until after that 30 days is up. However, with the recommendations from the committees, we should have quorum for the tree committee in December. I actually just reached out to everybody to see if we could be meeting in December. So it might take a little while just to get the other positions filled, but they'll at least be able to get rolling and, organized.
Terrific.
Do you know if they have qualifications on each of those categories, Josh?
So right now, the 3 members are all appointed from the committee. So Nicole, Ray, and Shirley.
Okay,
Like I said, we haven't posted the advertisement, but the advertisement does just include that we're looking for experienced individuals, with that type of background that's
Yeah.
included in the ordinance.
not just nosy neighbors.
Not just tree huggers.
Right.
Yeah, background and experience, but enthusiasm and commitment are important too, so. Okay, so we have an opportunity this evening to appoint Nicole as our representative. If somebody would like to make a motion to that effect.
Oh, okay, I'll make that motion that Nicole is our representative on the tree board, without a doubt.
All right,
By,
I'll second it.
all right.
Michael?
I'll third.
All right. All right, congratulations, Nicole. Now, if you can just make the meetings, you will be the star, I'm sure.
Oh, I know. Yes, I apologize. I've had a rough couple months.
Oh, I can't, I'm sure, yeah, I understand and I'm so happy you're willing to take this on though, because you can probably offer more expertise by just attending every other meeting than some people who can make all of them, so.
Well, I don't intend to miss, so
Okay,
it's a tough time.
yeah, all right. Okay, so it's approved. Nicole is our representative and now, so Josh, you said they won't be meeting till likely when?
So right now we're looking to get the recommendation letters for the three
The committee, yeah.
members, and then they would be ratified at the December 6th town council meeting.
Oh, okay. all
And then
right.
they just have to get sworn in. And right now, they're scheduled to meet on 12/12 at 2 p.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
great, okay.
So I would just need to go. Would I go down to town hall between the 6th and the 12th or before the 6th?
It would have to be the 7th to the 12th.
Yeah, okay.
So they have to go through the whole swearing in and everything, just like usual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because she was sworn in for the ad hoc committee.
Now, does this board have, I mean, this is just like any committee, right? I mean, it's not.
No, this is a board.
This is
So
a
it is-
board. Well, how is it different? then?
Actually,
What
Actually,
that?
this is a committee. It's
Oh,
still a
sorry, this
committee.
is a committee. The
Yep.
tree is a board. The tree board is a board.
Oh, no, the tree committee is actually a committee as well. They didn't make it a board.
Oh, they didn't make it a board. Okay.
No, they're just sticking with tree committee. I mean, it all kind of is the same at the end of the day for the town. So it's just still a advisory committee to the town manager.
Mhm.
So we're just sticking with committee.
Because
Oh, okay.
do boards by definition have some actual authority as opposed to just recommending stuff or?
So the way the charter, when the new form of government was put into effect, all the committees are advisory boards. There's, I think, maybe a couple that have different, not, I wouldn't say like powers or anything, but the way they work is a little bit different. So like the Community Preservation Committee, when they make recommendations for their funding from the state, that goes to the town council. And then the finance committee, they are referred financial orders from the town council, and then they make a recommendation back to the town council.
Okay,
So
all right,
that's,
yeah, right, so like, yeah, even Community Preservation Act, I mean, the fund, any funds has to go, have allocation has to go through the council, right? I mean, anything they want.
right.
Yeah, so, okay.
Right. For the, I would say about 95% of the committees, boards and commissions are advisory to the town manager.
Yeah,
though.
okay, all right. Okay, so it is a tree committee, not a board, to which we have appointed you, Nicole. All right, that's great. Okay, anything else on that before we move on? Did the website come up, Josh? No. All right, well, so then let's move on to Wyman Meadow. Michael, Maureen, Pat, were you with us when we went out? Yeah, Pat and me met with Mitch Hennings from the Wildlands Trust at Wyman Meadows on October 8th, which was a Saturday. And he just, he had kind of a little bit of a drawing that, oh, I was gonna try and show this, but I don't know if I can find it or not. I mean, it's all preliminary anyway. In fact, I'm not gonna bother trying because we will have someone here next month to talk about this in depth. Because Mitch actually has left Wildlands Trust. He was the one who was working on this project and he left and is going to become a physical therapist. So somebody else, Owen Curtis, I think is his last name, has taken over the project. And I met with him this past Monday, just to get to meet him. And so because he hadn't been out there yet, but he's a longtime member of Wildlands Trust, a longtime staff member, which I was really happy to hear because I was afraid we were getting somebody brand new. And so he's going to be working on it, and he saw what Mitch had done so far, and he's going to be putting something, he actually already sent me something a little more detailed with as far as the well protection area. And looking at it, we decided that the part of the trail that would likely be on town land would be about 1,000 feet. Basically, those of you who are there, it's to the tree line of where the Wildlands Trust property starts. And so what I met with Jennifer DeBois-Brown, the Town Community and Economic Development Director, and Steve Sobel, the conservation agent, on Tuesday morning, because I want to find out, like, how do we get this going? What are the steps? Who has to do what in town? I had emailed the water department and the public works director about our site visit on the 8th, and they, one of them asked for a map, and I didn't have that at that point, but they didn't come, and I, haven't had any questions or anything, but I want to make sure that we've covered all our bases and we don't get just, some way down the road with this and somebody throws up a roadblock that we haven't anticipated. And so I wanted to meet with Jennifer and just find out, okay, who do I need to talk to? What are the steps we need to go through? And so she actually is leaving also. I don't know if everybody knows that she's moving to Florida and has a job there. So as of now, Steve Sobel is going to be taking on all of the open space issues that he's the conservation agent to and staff to the Conservation Commission, and hasn't had much time for open space issues in the past. So we'll see if he has any now. But so Jennifer and Steve are going to convene a meeting with Azu Etioni, who's the public works director, and Jonas Kozlauskas, who's the water department director, and lay it out for them, because I realized when I met with Steve and Jennifer that they didn't really I mean, I've been talking about this to Steve for a long time, but I don't think he was listening to me because he didn't understand that this was not on water department property. He seemed to think it all was, and he kept saying that we didn't really, anyway, doesn't matter. But I think we got it straightened out a little bit, and so Jennifer was quite positive about it, because I think they both had been skeptical, thinking that this was going to interfere with other interests there, and so I think we got a little bit clearer on that, and I was able to give them that very sketchy map that we got from Mitch when we were out there that day. But in the meantime, Owen is going to try to do a lot more of a detailed map for us. And hopefully Jennifer and Steve will have a chance to meet with the town manager and the other two folks and get everybody on board with this, or at least find out what other steps we have to take. Is this something that has to go through the town council because it's a joint effort, we're using our property to access their property, and do they have to have does Wildlands Trust have to have an attorney look at it? They didn't think so. They said this is pretty common for them, that they have these kinds of joint arrangements and lots of parcels with different towns. One parcel giving access to the other, or whatever. So, so that's where this stands, and we'll see how much can get accomplished in the next 30 days. And Owen will be here to talk about it more at length. He's thinking, when Mitch was there, he was talking about bog boards, and Owen seems to think that some of those areas are too wet for bog boards. That maybe it has to do with the additional amount of rain we've had over the last month or so. But he's talking about maybe a footbridge in some areas. But he didn't seem to think that that was prohibitively expensive either. And they have said that they would pay for most of this as we've talked, but it's been all very informal. And I think that if there's some chance that we really do need to have money for this, we'll just have to be prepared to submit something to Community Preservation Act, because I think this would be a perfect project, as I understand their qualifications for what kind of open space improvements we could ask for money for. But it's not a very expensive thing at all. I mean, the parking area is there. It just needs to be mown, basically. The kiosk is there. It just needs to be painted and some information put up. And it's going to be a rustic path. It's not going, I was asking about handicapped accessibility, whether that's a requirement for all paths now, and I guess it is not. If you're applying for a grant, it can be a problem through the state level if you can't show accessibility, but
Have to go out.
it wouldn't be otherwise. So at the town level, so this would not be something that would be accessible, I don't think, unless you built a wooden walkway all the way to the river. So so anyway, that's where that stands, and I just want to get this done. I just want to get, this seems like such a no-brainer project, but everything just takes so long. So it is an exercise in patience, and we'll see. We'll be patient for another month and see what happens. Any questions about that? Okay. Okay, so let's see, Maureen, Community Preservation Committee, 10/26 annual public meeting. I was there too with Maureen, but I'm gonna let her kind of give an overview and I'll chime in. Go ahead, Maureen.
Well, there really isn't that much to say. They just mentioned our section of open space, and that we haven't done that much, and really was not much to report, honestly. They did bring up, what would they bring up? The NIP, that issue, and that it's a kind of a dead issue right now. And I think that was about,
Yeah, you might explain, like, they did a little bit of a survey, kind of like what were people interested in, and because this was
yes,
yeah,
that's
that
right. yeah.
committee meets monthly, but they are required by the Community Preservation Act to have an annual meeting and take public input, and so this was their yearly required meeting. So there were, well, Pat was there, and few, Fred Chase, who's a city councilor, a city council member. A couple of other people, I can't remember who though. Hanson, Mrs. Hanson, I can't remember what's her first name, but so there maybe were, I mean, less than 10 surely, and then the rest were all our familiar faces, the community preservation committee members, and then Maureen and I can't remember if anyone was on from Concom or not, but so that basically we're trying to get input, and so they had set up a little survey and would ask people like what, for under each section. Michael, do you know anything about Community Preservation Act? I mean, it's structured so that it funds different projects for historic preservation, open space and recreation, and I'm lost. Historic, did I say that? Historic preservation, open space, and housing.
Yeah,
So you-
I'm familiar with it. I do
Okay.
know the CPA is working on the memorial building across from the academy. I
Yeah.
walk by that every day, so.
Yeah, that was one of the projects they did discuss.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, and as Maureen pointed out, we don't have anything in front of them right now. There's no open space project. Well, Hanson Farm is, but that's agricultural, and even that is not really in front of them yet. The application
Yeah.
isn't there yet, so.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and the Lake Nip, as you know, the Action Focus Team submitted a form to determine eligibility, and they withdrew that until they can do more work to figure out how to move that project forward. So, yeah, we don't have, I mean, since I've been on this committee for, I don't know, 3 years or whatever, we haven't submitted anything to the CPC for funding.
Oh.
Yeah. it just
Is there an update on the property adjacent to Hanson Farm? I know we talked about that before.
Yeah, I didn't put it on because there's nothing to say. Yeah, it's there. They are going to, when I met with with Jennifer rather, and Steve the other day, Steve will be taking this over, but basically the Hansons didn't think they could get to anything until kind of the end of the year when things died down for them. The last time I talked to them up there, they just said it'd probably be year end before they could get around. What they need to do right now is redo the survey. They did a survey once, but now the town needs it to be more specific in some ways, and so that has to be redone.
Buddy, no, leave
Yeah.
her.
Pat, are you talking to your dogs?
I'm sorry,
Are you talking to your dogs?
I am. I'm watching my daughter's dog, so
Oh, geez, okay. All
they keep bothering her.
right. Okay, so, does that answer your question, Michael? Yeah, okay, all right. That's why I didn't put it on, because there wasn't anything to say. Any questions about that annual public meeting? Does anyone have any thoughts? Yeah, so hopefully we'll get something in front of them one of these days, but. All right. Do you want to add anything, Maureen? No, right. Okay, so new business. I added this. Josh, still no, you'll let me know. Just interrupt, yes, if you ever get access there. All right, so I'm going to try and, did anyone see the link I sent out right before our meeting? It was to a background about the Bridgewater State Forest. Did anybody see that email?
Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
printed it all up. I didn't
Okay.
get a chance to read though.
All right, yeah, no, I didn't expect you to, yeah. Josh, can I screen share, please?
Yeah, you're all set.
All right, but let's see, now I have to figure out how to. All right, where's your screen? No, that's, yeah, where is it? I don't know what I'm doing here. Well, forget it, I don't know how to do it, I guess. That's not what I want. All right, I don't know how to, I got too many things open here. Anyway, and what I really wanted to show too was more than that document was the map. Here, let me try again here.
If you can't do it, I can do it. I don't mind. I screen share all day.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's right, you've got that document. Okay, yeah, let me just, I think I can do this one now. Yeah, here, okay, this is the one. All right, so here's the map. Bridgewater State Forest. Just here's BSU. Here's 104. I had no idea where this was, so I was.
You can see Carver's Pond in the, you can see the water, see the black. Black
Is
on
that
the
Carver?
screen.
Okay,
I
yeah,
believe, yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. Now, what I don't know what this is within the forest. It's kind of odd. Anyway, I don't know why I got on this idea, but I kind of felt like I've always known it was out there, and I don't know what inspired me recently, but I just thought it seemed like something we ought to know about. And I found that link that Michael's talking about that I sent out to all of you. And basically it says, it's just, it gives a history of it. It was established as a kind of a tree farm by the state, and that it's nothing is done with it. And it's just there. And I've called the town, the DCR office in, it's in Norton, I think, or wherever the Gilbert Hills State Forest is, because they manage the Gilbert Hills State Forest which is in a different town, I think maybe Hanson or something. And I just was curious about what they could tell me about this property. And I'd love to go out there and just find out if there's any way to access it. They make it sound like it's used for hunting, and but that there's no trails. I mean, if you'll see that what I sent out to you, it basically they don't there's nothing there. There's but there obviously has been a little bit of residential encroachment there along one side, and then I'm just wondering what this thing is. Did somebody set up a private ballpark or something, or farming or what? I don't know. But anyway, I thought it would be interesting to find out more about it. And it's, here there's another park over here, so I don't know that there's any connections that could be made. But and then I don't know who owns these wetlands here. But anyway, would anybody like to go out there sometime with me and see if we can poke around?
I know where you can access it. Eileen, there's a, maybe that's Skeeter Mill Pond there,
Yes, it
right?
is. That's
Yeah, right.
Skeeter
Because
Mill, yeah.
the boys go ice skating there, but I believe somewhere near there, like right across the way, there is a gate with kind of a little access road. I feel like it's
Okay.
somewhere in the vicinity of there.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, it might be right at the top, right below where it says hotels. Somewhere around there, that might be where it is.
Okay, yeah, they said something in the description about there
On
was a
Water Street.
sign of some sort, yeah.
Yeah. I was also looking at the map you sent and in the link before, which is basically kind of shows the actual property. So I don't actually know if it goes all the way down to that clearing you see down there.
Oh, okay.
And I think I know what that clearing is because
Uh,
my son's friend lives along Auburn Street, which is down to the south of your page, and they get way back in those woods. And he told me that they came across some sort of like junkyard. I wonder if that's what that is.
Oh, God.
Because they were right there, right behind Sharon Court. Those are those little subdivisions that go back, and
Yeah.
I don't know if that's probably, I
Interesting.
won't say who my son is on public.
Right.
I don't know whether they're trespassing, but
Yeah.
boys like to go in woods.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's great that they do.
But
yeah.
it seems like I believe if you look at the map that you sent in the link, it's sort of like an L shape the property and it's maybe a little bit.
Oh, that's
and
right. It's like, they described it as a bow tie.
yes, so
Yeah.
I feel like some of these property owners
Yes.
do own into there.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, yeah, I didn't put those two together, but yeah, because that other document that I sent out has that, this, it does have that graphic. of-
Yeah, I could kind of see that. I feel like it is, there, the Bridgewater State property actually is like a little bit north of that little clearing. It kind of
Yeah,
ends.
Yeah,
There's like a street called Laurel Drive and then just a small little
Right.
street south of that. So that's about as far south as it goes.
and they mentioned in that description that where the knot is for the bow tie, or where that
Mhm.
there's a creek or something there, a stream. that
Yes.
It's only as wide as that stream.
Yep, that's on the map you sent.
Yeah,
And I
okay.
can share my screen to show that map if you want.
Yeah, yeah, if you could do that, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so, yeah,
So here was that pond we were
Right.
looking at, Skeeter Mill Pond. And
Uh-huh.
I believe, like I mentioned, I think there's like a little gate. Right,
Oh,
it's either
okay.
here or here, so that somehow you can get in here.
Yeah.
This is where you were mentioning that there's this stream and this wetland at this
Oh,
pinch
right,
point.
okay, yeah.
And here's what I was mentioning, these two little streets. And, I think it's hard to put it at the right scale, but that little clearing you saw, it's either this or maybe it was this.
Okay,
It would be kind of cool to know.
yeah.
For
Yeah,
some
anyway,
reason,
so
I thought the
I'd-
college, I thought that there was some affiliation with the college in there.
Oh, yeah, yeah, no, there isn't. I mean, the college does have some green space for sure, but that, but yeah, it's. So,
Yeah.
anyway, if I don't hear anything from the office, sheds any more light on this, I still would like to, if I do or I don't, I'd still like to go out there sometime if somebody wants to go with me. It just seems to me that it's something I'd like to know about. I mean, if we find out that somebody's clear cut it at some point, we might wish we had been more aware of it and, what the parameters are surrounding its use or whatever. So,
No, baby.
all right, so, Michael, Maureen, would
Yep.
you like to go for a
Oh,
walk?
I'll go. Yeah, I'll definitely go. Yep.
I'll go, yeah.
All right. Nicole, I'd love for you to go with us,
Yep,
but
I
I'm
can-
just gonna assume you're too busy unless you're going out there with your boys sometime and,
No, I can go. I can plan to try to come.
all right, great.
Maybe her kids can show us around out there.
Yeah, for
that
real, I
sounds like
know.
That would be the thing to do, yeah, right.
Well, they go fishing across the street there and that freezes a little bit and they go ice skating.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. All right, well, this isn't a top priority, but that's good to know. I'm glad people are interested, so I'll try to set something up at some point, probably now. The holidays is not a good time, so we'll do something later, so. All right, okay, so I sent you all the Mass Open Space Network webinar link, and I didn't see anybody on but myself last night. There wasn't, it was pretty good. I think it was very much the same. I did one either last year or a couple of years ago when they did it. They haven't come up with any new economic analyses from what I could see. But it is a good thing. And if you have a chance to go in and look at any of their materials, if you click on the webinar, you'll see it's the Mass Open Space Conference. It's a group of Mass Open Space well, it must be a nonprofit because I mean, there were people from cities and towns there, but it's not something that they were members of. So I'm not sure exactly who organizes this, but they're quite knowledgeable and they put together some really good materials. And one of the things they have is kind of a PowerPoint presentation with notes that they are making available to people that can be modified in any way you would like to for your own use. And I thought the idea I got that at some point it would be great to be able to present something like this to the city council, to have a short presentation of the economic benefits of open space, because everybody hears the benefits of development and, you know, why you don't want to lose tax revenues by keeping stuff undeveloped. And but this is the counter arguments, you know, the benefits to land, water, so many things. So I think that the materials they have are good, and if we could find some way to use them. And we never have made a presentation as a committee to the town council. We only existed for a couple of months before COVID. So that schedule of committee presentations, I think, was disrupted. Josh, are they back to doing any of that? Do you know? Have you seen any regular committee presentations to council?
I'm not aware of any.
Yeah, so I guess they're not really back to doing it. So I don't know, maybe they won't do it again. I don't know, but I think they were, because there was a schedule at one point, and I think I was made aware of it very early on when we had hardly formed, so we'll see. But I would like to take the opportunity to do that at some point if we are ever asked to do a presentation, or if we just decide we'd like to do one to present that. We could try it. So anyway, that's all I had to say on that. But I would encourage you all, if you just want some good talking points about the importance of open space, to take a look at their materials, so we can all be advocates. All right. So the last thing I had is another notice I sent to you. I just received this on Monday. Kitty Doherty, who, let's see, Michael doesn't know Kitty. Nicole, do you know Kitty? Yeah.
I
okay.
do.
Okay. Josh, have you met Kitty?
Yeah, I've talked to her a couple times.
Okay, all right, yeah, because I know she's met with Michael a number of times. So anyway, Kitty's a long time, lifelong resident of Bridgewater, I believe, and she's been a long time environmental and open space advocate. She founded the Natural Resources Trust of Bridgewater, a local land trust, about 25 years ago. Maureen and I were both on the board of that way back when. It is pretty much defunct and has been for 10 or 15 years now. I mean, it's still, she's maintained the incorporation, so she can still use the NRTB moniker for grant applications and things like that, which is always good to have that sort of organization behind your in kind of open space efforts, like when you're submitting things to the state. And so it gives, there's some recognition in the town to NRTB for those of us who have been around here for a while. But anyway, it was really Kitty, but Kitty and the NRTB and Michael Dutton were talking about rejuvenating a meeting that was held just before COVID. I think that was a meeting where I saw you, Maureen, and I got you to join this committee. Do you remember that meeting that Kitty kind of conducted? And it was just,
yeah.
talking about the parks, and Kitty was very involved with the 6 parklands and those plans that have been posted on the town conservation commission websites, well hidden, but they are up there. Those were all developed by NRTB in the early years, and a lot of donated time from the Conway School of Design and different consultants, and a lot of volunteers on the committee. And so there was a lot of work done, and then NRTB kind of fell apart. There was just leadership issues, and then the town went into financial crisis, and the parks were all neglected. And so things are on an uptick now, and they were that was quite a good meeting, or some good things had come out of that meeting that happened just before COVID. That Steve Sobel was brand new to the town then. He had just been hired as conservation agent, and he had big plans for that Earth Day. They were going to do a number of cleanups at I think Stiles and Hart and Ironworks Park, and they were planning publicity, and anyway, that completely fell through. And then I think Kitty I think there were some other efforts in the works that just got kind of didn't happen because of COVID. So, and now what Kitty is trying to do, which I think is a great idea, is get people to meet the new parkland steward who, I don't know, I can't get anything, any information. I keep contacting the Parks and Recreation Commission to try to get a phone number for him or an email, and nobody returns my calls. They don't post any minutes. I don't know. So anyway, I think this will be good because he is coming to the meeting, so we will get to visit with him. I wanted to get him out to the Wyman Meadows site when we went out there. But I don't know, he's Kitty, Michael Dutton hadn't met him. Jennifer DeBoisbriand hadn't met him, so I think other than the Parks and Rec people, he must be just out in the field a lot, who knows, but anyway, I think this meeting will be a good chance to get to know these other people who are involved in these issues, so I really hope you all can make it. It's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's supposed to be just an hour. And it's billed as a meet and greet. So I think it would be especially nice for those of us who, Michael, especially for you, and just to get to meet more people who are interested in this. And anyway,
Absolutely.
so that's it. So I will send a reminder for that at some point, and just hope to see you all there. And we can-
Eileen,
yes,
is Kitty running this meeting?
I don't know.
Okay,
She did mention that, or the email. Well, no, I don't know if this is the email she sent me or if it was actually in the Michael Dutton's announcement. But there was some reference to maybe like having each group that is represented do like a very short, like a 2 or 3 minute presentation of what they're focused on, which would be good, I think, so that it wouldn't be dominated by one speaker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can try to push for something along those
something like
lines.
that, yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully with Michael there, that he would take some leadership on it too, rather than,
Thank
all
you.
right. So our next meeting will be Thursday, December 15th. And I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving. Josh, I hope everything goes well at home and
Thank you.
you have. a
Yeah, good
wonderful
luck.
Thank
10
you.
weeks off.
Best of luck, please.
You guys will be in good hands.
Yeah.
So just send everything you needed to that committee email that you received, and
Right.
feel free to reach out with any questions.
Oh, yes, and so we should all, in the meantime, we need to look at what Josh has done. Josh, can you give us a clue, like, where do we start looking?
Yeah, so if you go to the open space, when it's available, if you go to the open space section, I
Okay,
just checked it again. What I did was I added the map that shows all the open space and conservation areas.
okay,
And then right underneath that, I added links for each of the locations. So there's going to be the description that was provided, the information on how to get there, and then the parking
Okay.
information. That way, if anybody was just interested in going to one of them, they can click on it, PDF pops up, and then they can print that out.
Nice.
okay, all right.
Thank
you. So as soon as the website's working again, you
Yeah.
can just go there, and everything from the map on is what I've added to it.
Okay, one thing I would like you to take a look at, and I don't know if you can change this or not, but it came up and actually at the CPA meeting that I referenced, the annual public meeting, and I have noticed this myself. It's bizarre. If you click on Parks and Recreation, what they show for the only thing they list is the golf club and I think the softball fields, or maybe Legion Field. So somebody clicking on Parks and Recreation is not going to know that there are any parks in Bridgewater.
Okay, that's
So,
that's good.
so some link to that somewhere too. So
Yeah, that anytime you guys have any of that feedback, that's
Yeah,
excellent,
okay,
because
all
that's
right.
something that just slips through.
yeah, that's just one that I've happened to have. I think I was trying to track down the new Parks and Rec person, and when I got on their site, I thought, oh, this is crazy. Yeah, you wouldn't think that, you wouldn't know about Carver Pond. You wouldn't know about anything if you just went to Parks and Recreation.
Right.
And somebody brought that up at that meeting, at that community preservation public meeting, so. All right, good. All right, so thank you, everyone, and we are adjourning at 8:12. All right, see you all in December, I hope.
Good holiday.
Have a good night,
Great.
everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have a good night.